Right, the next job is one that I think every heating engineer hates. The dreaded Boilermate. How are we doing, everyone? Welcome to another day in the life of a gas engineer video. In case you can hear a few noises around the house, I'm at home. You can probably hear in the baby monitor, Nick is trying to put Aaron to sleep upstairs. Got the air fryer on, making myself some lunch. I'm not doing this intro in the van because the weather outside is horrendous. So I can't be bothered to go outside, but what I'm going to be doing this weekend is I've just got to put some shelves up into our downstairs toilet because we've got our gender reveal on the 24th of June. Obviously we've got our baby coming, so all this stuff around here, we're just going to put some shelves up and try and neaten it up, get ready for the new arrival. And there's going to be a lot more stuff that we're going to have again, so all the baby stuff's got to come back out, so trying to get a little bit organized. Anyway, I'm rambling on. You're not here to listen to me talk about what I'm doing this weekend. You're here to watch some plumbing and heating content. This week's video, I've got a Boilermate that I managed to fix, and it was actually really interesting how I managed to get around it. The PCB gives you a lot of information. There's all the information in the video. If any of you guys have got other info on the Boilermate or any of the other videos, please do drop a comment below. And as always, I'm getting close to the 6,000 subscriber mark, so if everyone that's watching could please just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the little bell button. It will really appreciate. It will really help me out, and I would really appreciate it. That's what I was trying to say. Enough chat, let's get on with the video. Morning, everyone. So today's job, first we're starting off on a full strip down service on an Ecotech Pro 24. So first thing I've noticed, I've got the case off. Looks pretty good condition. That's not good because obviously there's signs of rusting, there's leaks and everything. Now, first thing you may look at where the water's pooling, you may be mistaken that it's the diverter valve. But the diverter valve is all looking good. There's no signs of any leaks on it. If you follow that rusting round, you might think it could be the plate heat exchanger. You follow it up, there's signs of rusting there, still nothing there. But let me just try and tip this camera back a bit, so let's try and get in there. As you look further up, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but basically the condense hose has split, and that's been dripping onto the return pipe there, and off of there coming down onto the support bracket and leaking down there. And then in valence, this point here seems to be like a central point where all the water collects. So regardless of where you have leaks from, it tends to sort of collect around that area. And that's where it tends to leak. Well, that's where it tends to sort of all collect, and then you think that the diverter valve is leaking, but it's not always the case. Found this relatively early because obviously we know that condensed water is acidic, so that could eat through that copper pipe eventually and then create a pinhole, which we don't want. Luckily, I'm all kitted out here. I've got the condense trap, so I'm just going to take the hose off of it. There's the part number if anyone's after it. So take the hose off of that. Pop that on there, so replace that. That's a nice and easy job. Got the G10 seal, so we're going to take the burner out, have a look at inside, see what it's doing, recharge the expansion vessel, check the pressure sensor. AAV is all good, and then the flue basically just goes through here, through this boxing, and then I don't know, does this window open far enough? I think it's like a safety window, but oh, here we go. Let me press that. Okay, so can see that the flue terminates. Can you see it from there? Yeah, up there. That's where the flue is. So we know that's the flue run. So let's get the burner out. Well, first thing I always do the wet side first. So I'm gonna drain the boiler out, recharge the vessel, check the pressure charge on the pressure sensor, do all that stuff, get it back on, get it purging as well. I've already done a drop test. The gas meter's in a cupboard downstairs, so that's all good. And then while it's doing its purge program, I'll get that open and start cleaning it up, and obviously change the condense hose as well. So let's get to it. So just drain the boiler out and have a look at the color of the water. So I know the base of the bucket is black, but my hose is sitting somewhere in there and you can't see it. That is filthy. Expansion vessel wasn't too bad. It had about 0.5 bar of a charge in it. The other thing, let's get this light to sit properly. drained the boiler out, so it's obviously showing 0 on the analog gauge, but we've still got 0.7 bar on there. I've got another pressure sensor on me, but the customer's obviously on a bit of a budget, so I'm going to see if I can clean that out. Hopefully I can just clean it out and get it to work. If not, I'll see what I can do. I've got a pressure sensor on me. They're not that expensive, but if it needs changing, it needs changing. Let's see what we can do. So I tried to clean out the old pressure sensor, but yeah, it wasn't happening. I was still getting 0.3 of a bar reading on it. So pop the new one in, and now we've got 0. So that's what it should be reading. I didn't want to risk basically getting a call back later on and then F75 issues. Just change it. I'll sort out the price afterwards. But yeah, now I'm going to fill it up, put it into P0, let it purge, and I'll start stripping out the main heat exchanger. Okay, so for a boiler which is 2011, 12 years old, that is very good. Glad to see that. So hardly anything on there, which means it's been burning really well. So gonna give this a little brush, use a little hoover to sweep it up, and then I've got the Karcher to spray it through, and then I've got my little drill brush attachment, so we'll make sure get this heat exchanger nice and clean. Burner as well, let's just pop this up. So burner's pretty good nick. Obviously we're going to change the G10 seal, give the electrodes a clean as well, change the electrode gasket. But yeah, for a boiler of this age, I'm pleasantly surprised. The other thing I need to do here is obviously get that sorted. So let's just do that now. So if I undo that, and now you can actually see it's actually split completely from there. It's calling me, I'll call him back after. But that literally just pulls out of there. There we go. And the new one will just push straight back in there and connect up onto there again. You guys know I love this. Next up, right, here we go. That is a lot cleaner than what it was before. Not that it was that bad before anyway. Yeah, that's all done. Going to put the rear insulation pad back on, change the G10 seal on that, clean up the electrodes, pop that back together, and then we can start doing our 26.9 checks. Okay, so the boiler service is pretty much done. Just had a look at the flue through here. That's all fine. We've got a clip up there, and I've had that done and checked the elbow as well, so that's all fine there. Boiler's all back together. I just need to go downstairs and do a quick drop test. Now that I'll put the gas back on there, I'm going to take a few bits downstairs, do a drop test, make sure that's all good, come back up with the analyzer, and just finish off doing the final 26.9 checks. Right, the next job is one that I think every heating engineer hates. The dreaded Boilermate. So a colleague of mine came here yesterday. He changed some parts on the boiler, and then he tried to get the fire up, but the boiler was basically just overheating to the point where he said I think one of the solder joints started melting. So he works for an insurance company. They basically don't cover the Boilermate, so he's giving the customer my details. I've come along here today to try and figure out what's going on. So far, what I've checked is, so we've got, this is our main pump which circulates between the boiler and the store. Yeah, that's our primary return to the boiler. So this is our main between the boiler and the store. So that's what's meant to heat up the store. We've got our central heating pump here. This pump, when the store is satisfied and it's up to temperature, that will come on and that will start circulating the heat towards the radiators. Then obviously on this side you've got your hot water pump, so that's spinning at the moment anyway, but there's obviously the store inside here has cooled down, so it's not going to get hot water. So that's constantly basically at the moment, and which it shouldn't be. That shouldn't be constantly running, but that's just circulating water through there at the moment. Now I know with the Boilermates you've got these mean something. I don't know what they mean, so I'm going to give a call to Gledhill, find out what's going on, because I've tried pressing some of the switches and trying to get the boiler does come on, but it doesn't want to fire because, one second, my phone's ringing again. I'm not getting 240 volts to this pump. So I've traced that lead back to this terminal up here, and I'm not getting the 240 volts that I should be getting. So I'm going to find out what's going on with it, and if that means something, if I need to reset something to get that to come on. So let's try that first, and we'll give them a call and then we'll go from there. Okay, so getting somewhere with this, I've spoken to Gledhill, and this control board tells you everything that you need to know. So you've got everything, every time it's flashing here, it's giving you a sensor reading. So we've got S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. So there's 6 sensors. So we've got 2 sensors at the top, which are your overheat stats, and they should be within about a degree of each other. So we've got 26 and 27 degrees between S1 and S2. S3 and S4 are your plate heat exchange, your hot water sensors. So they are about a degree within each other as well, so that's fine. And then you've got S5 and S6. They're also about 27 degrees. So the temperature all over this is absolutely fine. The reason why this is constantly running, he explained to me, is because it's trying to get heat, but it can't get the heat. So it's trying to find the temperature differential between the flow and return of the plate in order for it to think that it's satisfied, but it's never going to get satisfied because the store is not hot enough. Now the power to the main boiler pump is J32. I was checking the wrong one, it's J33. J32 is the one going to there. Now I've got power going to there, but that pump's not spinning, and I don't know if you can hear it. Let me see if I can get the microphone a little bit closer to it. It's making like a very faint buzzing sound. Now on these ones, you've got, let's pop this microphone back on. You've also got a circuit board on there, you've got a PCB on that pump, and that will give you a green light. So we've got power going to it, but that's not doing anything. So it's not even the case that the pump's seized. I reckon the board is gone on that, so it's never going to work. So the only option I've got at the moment is to replace the pump. Now I'm hoping that these gate valves hold. I've got a pump on the van. Let's give it a go. Okay, so I've got another ground force pump head on the van, but before I change it over, I want to test that this one is spinning and make sure that obviously it is an issue with the pump. I don't know what's going on with the electrics here, but none of these switches seem to be turning off, so I've had to turn it off from the fuse board. So I'm just going to go and pop the power back on quickly.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Yeah. We'll get you through 2 months at least. Okay. That's back on. That's back on. Now we want to see if that spins when I flick that on. There we go. Pump spinning. So we know that's all working fine. Now turn the power back off. Switch that pump over. That should sort things out. Right, pumps changed. The valves obviously did leak, but they were only leaking when you were turning them. Once they're in the either on or off position, they stopped leaking. So thank God for that. Old pump, where you can see the quality of the water that's inside there. That's why that's seized. Now, most importantly, let's go put the power on and see if we're in business. Right, flip that one there. see what it's doing. Okay, so pop the heating on. There we go. I can hear that already. There we go. That's running. Now let's go and have a look, see what the boiler's doing downstairs. Boiler should have fired up now. We'll be starting to fire up. Yep, here we go. Okay, so it's got the pump demand. Right, it's calling me now. Okay, flame. Oh, actually, I think Charlie might have isolated the gas to the boiler. Let me have a look at that, see what's going on with that. Okay, so the gas was off, so pop it back on. Now you can see S4, 44 degrees. It's not overheating. Now I'm going to go upstairs and check the temperature sensors. So I could get my temperature clamps out, but the Boilermate actually tells you what temperatures that we've got there. So first of all, just by touch, that's warm. That's warm. Now we're looking for, so I've got press on here, S2, so S1, so that's already increasing in temperature. So these are the S1 and S2 are the temperature sensors at the top. So S1 is 29, S2 is 30, which is correct, they're meant to be within a degree of each other. S3 is this one here, that's 24 degrees. S4, which is the top temperature sensor, that's also 24 degrees, so obviously it's not hot enough yet. Now S5 is going to be that bottom sensor, then S6 is going to be that one. So we had 27 degrees before. Don't know if it's going to be made any difference yet. No, not yet. 27, 28. So it's not made a difference yet because it's literally, it's only just come on. But that is getting warm. So this is a case of letting the store get up to temperature now. Once the store gets up to temperature, that heating pump will come on. So that's off at the moment, even though it's got a demand, but it won't come on until that bottom store temperature reaches, I think he said 55 degrees, and that one reaches 60 degrees. Hang on, let me just double check, because I noted all this down on my phone because it will be handy for future references if I ever come across Boilermate again. No, S5, so that bottom one, waiting for that one to get to 60 degrees. There we go, I don't know if you can see that off my phone. And S6, which is the middle one, we want that to get 70 degrees. And the hot water flow, which will be the bottom one, I believe. No, I'm not sure actually. One of them, it needs it to be 55 degrees for that pump to then stop running because it's trying to satisfy that. So I'm going to have a little tidy up and I'm going to see. So look, there you go. S6 is already increasing in temperature, only by a couple of degrees, but that proves that that pump is doing its job. So, job's done. I'm going to have a tidy up, check the temperatures again just before I finish. It's probably going to still take a while for that to get on, but it's done. And I didn't have to drain down because these Boilermates are boring to drain down. So, yeah, didn't have to do that. Happy days. Alright, here's something you won't see me doing a lot of on my videos, a bit of basic plumbing. Just got to swap out this deck mounted kitchen tap. There's a new one. Now, this tap kit, it's not mine, it's Josh's. Probably seen him working on my installs with me. If you're doing a lot of plumbing and you're doing a lot of tap changes, then this Nerad Tapex kit is amazing. I borrowed it off of him today to give me a hand with this. It's got loads of different socket sizes for different back nuts. If you've got a normal mixer tap, you've got the different sizes to get to the back nuts. You've got your ratchet. Got an extendable, I don't know what you call it, just an extension bar, a little wobble bar in there. So it's basically like a car socket set, but for taps, and it works really well. So I'm going to use that to get this tap change quick time. And then after this, I've got to go look at a leaking rad valve. That was painfully long. You can see I don't do that many taps, but it's working. No leaks, which is always good. But yeah, if you're doing a lot of tap changes, this Tapex kit is well worth the money. So I think it's about £120. But yeah, you can make your, well, depending on how much you're charging, 2-3 tap changes, you've made your money back on this kit already. So, Nared Tapex kit, if you want one, Google it, get yourself one. I'm on to the next one now. I need to charge this camera.
Right, last job here. We've got a leak from a rad valve. So when I open this lock shield up, you can see it starts to drip there. So that's fine. So at least we know where it's leaking from. So I'm going to whip this off, just dump the pressure out, and then just swap the valve over.
Right, new rad valves on. I changed the tail at the same time just in case, because it's a bit of rusting on there. I got sent a photo saying that the drip was sort of coming from below, so I wasn't sure whether it was coming. That was definitely leaking, obviously, on the old one here, but I wasn't sure if it was leaking from there or the tail, so I thought might as well just change it all over. It's a pressurized system anyway. That's done. It's filled up. Normal leaks. It's already getting warm because I've got the heating on. Job done. Okay, so what I thought was going to be my last job was that radiator job, but then a call came in for a leaking boiler. We've got an ECA boiler behind me. It's been installed not too long ago, and as far as the installs that I've seen from people who've been fitting the ECA boilers, this is actually pretty good. Nice straight pipes, clipped and everything, so can't see anything wrong there, but they've mentioned that the boiler's been leaking. There's a couple of saucepans full of water there. F37, low pressure, and it's tripping the electrics. So let's open up and have a look, see what's going on inside. Okay, that's a nice easy fault find. Diverter cartridge is leaking and taking out the motor, which is obviously tripping the electrics. Don't think I've got one of these in the van. I think I used up the last one I had from ECA. If not, I'll have to come back tomorrow or so and swap that over. It's not too bad of a job to do. Let me see if I've got one in the van. If I do, I can get them up and running today. If not, it's just going to have to wait until I can get back again.
Right, it's their lucky day. Found diverter motor, and ECA sorted me out with a diverter valve the other day, so just got to swap the cartridge over. So just going to drain this out, wind that out, wind the new one in, change the diverter motor as well, and we should be good as gold. Right, that's all swapped over. So there's the old diverter cartridge. That's the old motor. So literally, I'll show you from the new one. Just winds out the top there. Spindle in there. I've got to keep that because the PRV is still be handy on that. There we go. New one's in. We are back up to pressure, and the boiler is just going through its purge program and not tripping out anymore. So, van stock again, key. Happy days, job's done. Now I'm going to go home. Hope you guys have a good one.